Ever heard the phrase, "Give me the money fight"? Well, we at SportsKeeda MMA are going to give you 5 of them. Spoiler alert, most of them involve Conor McGregor. What about future money fights? Probably still Conor, as long as Poirier, Usman, and Nate Diaz are still alive. Welcome to SportsKeeda MMA's top 5 UFC money fights. Number 5. Conor McGregor vs Jose Aldo, UFC 194. This was Conor McGregor's ascension into UFC stardom, the moment to prove that he was the best in the world, and boy did he deliver. He had already won the interim title in an impressive fashion by knocking out Chad Mendes and looked to unify the title against the world beater that was Jose Aldo, who was at the time 25-1 and had defended his featherweight title 7 times, truly one of the great featherweights ever. McGregor understood the gravity of this title fight, and on the press tour that spanned 10 cities, he made sure that Aldo was not only his opponent in the Octagon, but his target of his verbal warfare. Throughout the entire UFC 194 press junket, McGregor would take trash talking to a whole new level and produce some of the most memorable quotes in UFC history. "If this was a different time, I'd invade his favela on horseback and kill anyone not fit to work, but we're in a new time, so I'll whoop his ass in July." And at UFC 194, during the main event, the unthinkable happened. Conor McGregor fired a picture-perfect left hand on a rushing Jose Aldo and wresting the featherweight title in front of a sold-out Las Vegas crowd in 13 seconds. The total gate for UFC 194 was just over $10 million and saw 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, generating $75 million in revenue. Conor McGregor made $500,000 for his quick night at the office, and that's not including pay-per-view points. Jose Aldo would earn $400,000 for his devastating loss. Number 4. Usman vs Mazvidal 1, UFC 251. What was supposed to be Gilbert Burns' turn at trying to solve the enigma that is Kamaru Usman became a short-noticed opportunity of a lifetime for Jorge Masvidal. After a positive COVID-19 test from Burns, Jorge Masvidal stepped in on 7 days' notice and challenged Usman for the welterweight strap at UFC 251. Masvidal was the #1 contender at the time, knocking out the likes of Darren Till, Ben Askren, and then put a beatdown on Nate Diaz for the BMF belt. Masvidal and Usman's rivalry outside the Octagon gave the fight just enough hype to make the fans itching to purchase the pay-per-view. From Masvidal telling Usman he would break his face, to Usman saying he would cancel Masvidal's resurrection, there was no love lost. Usman would secure a unanimous decision victory over Masvidal and earned an estimated $600,000, later rectified by a brutal KO in the rematch. The event saw 1.3 pay-per-view buys amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Number 3. Brock Lesnar vs Frank Mir, UFC 100. The Centennial Showcase for the UFC, and at the time, the 2 biggest names in the sport clashing for heavyweight supremacy. You think Brock Lesnar defending his belt against Frank Mir was huge? Take a look at the rest of the card. Dan Henderson with his most infamous H-bomb on an unconscious Michael Bisping, George St. Pierre defending his belt against Thiago Alves, John Jones' 3rd UFC fight, Sexy Ama being sexy. The who's who of talent studded the event. It was one of those once-in-a-lifetime cards that attracted even the most stingy fans to buy a seat at the Mandalay Bay Center or even the pay-per-view. The event generated an astounding 1.6 million pay-per-view buys, earning an estimated $82 million in revenue. Both Lesnar and St. Pierre earned $400,000 for their championship defenses. Number 2. Diaz vs McGregor 2, UFC 202. Consider this the grudge match, the fight for revenge. A street brawler from Stockton who gave no fucks and choked out the most popular figure in MMA. And an Irish icon looking to prove the tagline of the event, anytime, any weight, anywhere. The sold-out T-Mobile Arena saw some of the UFC's toughest fighters, names like Colby Covington, Anthony Rumble Johnson, and Marvin Vettori. But the story that 1.65 million people wanted finished at home and over 15,000 more at the arena was McGregor getting a win in 3 weight classes. McGregor suffered dearly for that win, even at times getting outboxed by Diaz. In an all-time classic bloody fight of the night, McGregor narrowly defeated Nate Diaz. His victory earned him a UFC record $3 million, while Nate Diaz making $2 million. The event itself generated $90 million in revenue. Number 1. Nurmagomedov vs McGregor, UFC 229. This was the one true test of McGregor's career, a chance to prove to the world that the unstoppable force who was Khabib Nurmagomedov is merely a mortal, that a boy from Ireland who leveled an entire sport once before could do the same again to one of the most gifted MMA athletes to ever grace the Octagon. In the lead-up to this colossal lightweight title fight, McGregor employed every strategy in his signature book of mental warfare, from insulting his religion to causing pandemonium in his infamous bus attack. But Habib stayed laser-focused on his father's plan, his elite wrestling passed down to him by Nurmagomedov, ultimately leading to a 4th-round neck crank on McGregor. But what was more shocking was what transpired after. Habib, in a pit of fury, would hop the octagon and fly at the McGregor corner, specifically targeting Dylan Dennis. After the infamous brawl, the Nevada State Athletics Commission would fine Habib $500,000 of his $2 million purse. The biggest UFC event of all time attracted a gate of $17.2 million with 2.4 million pay-per-view buys, generating the most money in UFC history at $180 million. Habib and Conor were immortalized in the MMA history books on that day, and Habib would go on to retire undefeated at 29-0. Thanks for watching SportsKeeda MMA. If you like this video, share it with another fight fan. For more exciting top 5s and to stay up to date with all things MMA, subscribe to SportsKeeda MMA.